Leslie McDonnell has admirably served Holliston for 22 years as our library director. Her dedication and guidance resulted in the library continuing to be an essential and relevant asset to everyone in our community. She's retiring this year, and this is an opportunity to tell the story of our library. Let's take a look back. What was the library like when you started?
You know, we were already automated. It obviously was the size it is now. It was in need of a lot of things on the building level. There was standing water in the elevator shaft.
Oh boy.
The carpet was in terrible shape. It needed to be painted. The building had gotten very shabby and needed a lot of care. Some routine maintenance and also some repairs and that sort of thing. We were past the card catalog, but we were not using any Windows-based type of a thing at the time. They were dumb terminals, and shortly after that, you know, began to come in Windows-based software to check things out and check things in.
So there was no internet really when you first?
There was internet, but we weren't using it to automate the library's functions. So people couldn't, you know, put in orders from home or search the catalog really. It was pretty rudimentary. And it wasn't web-based yet, but shortly after it became so. Very clunky, but then it got better after that. Yeah.
Well, I remember all the reference books. Encyclopedia Britannica was back
Tons
there.
of reference books.
And those are all gone now.
They are, and that's a big surprise. I didn't think that would happen as quickly. It felt like it happened overnight. Yeah, so everything was pretty much print. There were no e-books that, not in the sense that libraries were using them. Even audio was still in switching over from cassettes to CDs.
Yeah.
We still had VHS tapes.
Yes.
So everything was pretty traditional, and we were sort of just on the cusp to making changes.
So that must have been one of the big initiatives that you had going.
It was, for us to, you know, switch over to CDs and DVDs was a real big initiative when we first came. Making policies and loan rules and periods of time that really worked for people.
How did that change?
We had books that were due in a week, and that's just not modern life. That just doesn't work very well. So we lengthened loan periods and that sort of thing. The book drop used to be locked all day. And the book drop was an old postal box. So you can imagine, because it was built to carry letters, it didn't hold very much. And it was locked during the day. So somebody who came by and just wanted to put the books in the box couldn't do it. They had to come in the building, and people with small children, that was really, you know, very difficult for them. So I think things were really traditional, and we needed to think more about our patrons and what their daily lives were like and how they functioned with the library to make it easier to do that for them.
Yeah, so what is the difference maybe between now and then, and how the people use the library?
The idea of using the library from home is now very much second nature. You can go in and look at your account. You can pay for any kind of fees online. You can use ebooks and downloadable audio, streaming. All these things were yet to come, and now we don't think twice about them.
So you have a huge. How big is the amount of people that use those?
You know. It's still small. Our digital use is about 24%, but a few years ago it was 10. So it's doubled, and that's not going away. I think print is here to stay for a long while, and they may exist forever side by side to a certain extent, but each year the print goes down a little bit and the electronic goes up a little bit. Yeah.
Okay,
and I think we're going to wake up one day and DVDs will be gone. I think that's just a matter of time. Yeah. That's just a matter of time.
Yeah, yeah. In other words, how about how the role and the outreach of the library has changed?
You know, people use the library in a lot of traditional ways soon. I mean, you can't discount somebody wanting to read a great book. That's never going to go away. That's a human need. But as time went on, especially before COVID, the library was more of a meeting place. There was a lot more emphasis on programming, especially with children. And once Zoom came in with the pandemic, it all changed again. Oh. So we had a lot of use for many years from our meeting room, and now a lot of community groups meet on Zoom.
Right.
That doesn't mean they're not looking to the library as a community place, because they still are. That's still
in what ways
out
are
there.
They doing?
Especially through contact with other people, whether it's electronically through Zoom or in person. People want to connect with other people in their community, and especially with children, Zoom kind of falls flat. You know, kids still want to go to story time. They still want to come to the library and play and see other kids. And very often, for children, that's the first time that they're around other children they're not related to or they don't know well. So we do a lot of things with play groups and people coming together. Not just book related, but also play related for small children. We just wrote a grant that we hope we'll get that is how play is learning when you're 0 to 6. That's how kids learn. So if we get this grant, we'll have a much larger play area, we'll have a lot of play equipment, and it will be STEM related and family literacy related, so they'll be playing and having fun, but they'll also be using the building blocks that help children get ready for school. So it's a school readiness thing too.
I love that.
It is.
This is really exciting.
It is exciting, and there's a lot of research out about how really young children learn. We know how they learn and how their brains develop, and play is a huge piece of it. It's not just fun. The other thing is people are probably more isolated than they've ever been. They've got lots of technology, but there's lots of anxiety, lots of loneliness in our society that's been documented. And so people do like to come together in some way. They like to be a part of something and have contact with their community. And the library is a good place for that because we serve everybody from the cradle to the grave.
Yep.
It's democratic. You don't. You rarely pay for anything,
right.
And these are your neighbors.
Yeah.
So the library is a good connector.
Well, I think that's a beautiful, kind of combination because in the past, not so long ago, people were saying, "Oh, libraries are defunct; they're not going to make it because technology is going to take over." But you just said it's not true. This is what's happening, and it's still essential.
True. And people probably don't realize they did a big Pew study, Pew who collects all kinds of statistics a few years ago, and millennials read and use libraries more than previous generations, which was a real eye-opener to me. So that's not gone. The love of a good story or a good book or all those things are still there. That's a human need that's not going to go away. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's too great of an idea to go away anyway.
That's right.
So,
exactly. So the library director doesn't, you just don't buy books. You have had many hats in the last 22 years.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about all the stuff that goes on with you.
Well, I manage the library, so I have responsibility, first line of responsibility for the building.
And that's been a lot of work.
Incredibly challenging. The town hired a facilities manager a couple years ago, and that has been like heaven. But it's still up to me to keep an eye on the building, make sure that it's safe, report anything that needs to be done, work with the facilities manager, work with contractors, and make sure these things all get done, making sure that routine maintenance is done. It's much easier now that we have a facilities manager, but it's still my responsibility. He doesn't live here. Right. I do. Yes. I have to report those things. We're responsible for the building. And also any kind of management type stuff, managing
Yes.
the staff, making
Right.
sure work gets done, helping people use the library, working with the trustees to set policy.
Yep.
So we have, you know, procedures and policy that works for, you know, a large number of people with different needs.
Yep. Grants.
Writing grants, budgeting.
Oh, the budget, because you go to FinCom and you go to the town meeting.
You can't spend money you don't have. I buy books, I do the adult programming, but I, you know, supervise the whole staff who does programming for teens, programming for children, and that sort of thing. So it's sort of a management type of thing.
It's a lot.
Managing all the things, and if someone is unhappy with the library, or happy, it comes to me eventually in one way or another.
Yeah.
So.
Well, going back to the building, I mean, I remember the elevator, the boiler, when the roof had that huge problem, and then the library was closed, and you took advantage of it to repaint, recarpet. I mean, it looks beautiful now.
It needed more care than it was getting, and I think it does look really beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, the front part is from 1904, the back part is from 1985, and the system's aged. You know, just like your roof at home doesn't have an infinite life in it, it doesn't at the library either.
Right.
You know, we've replaced a lot of those things so it functions better, it looks better, but we've been able to preserve the beauty of the 1904. This library is a Carnegie, meaning that Andrew Carnegie, who was a millionaire steel magnate, gave the library to the town. And that needs to be preserved, the beauty of the old woodwork, but also the whole idea that this belongs to the people of Holliston, and they've taken care of it for over 100 years, and will continue to do so. So we've preserved those parts of it.
Yes, you've done a great. It's still a great place to be, and
it is.
Yes. So, what is the most enjoyable part of your job?
I think working with people, you know, waiting on people, making policies that help people, buying books that make people happy.
Yes.
I think having programs that make people's lives better, and you know, you wouldn't think the library does that, but it does. It does make people's lives better. Maybe it's just a tax form that you need. We had somebody who came to us, long-term patron, had a really traumatic tragedy in her life, and she told us, I had the library, I had the gift of reading. It was the only thing that distracted her. And we hear those stories all the time. You know, I don't speak English very well, I'm a new immigrant, but I always feel welcome at the library. The library can help me. I need to get a job. I've been diagnosed with an illness. I want to know more about it, how to take care of myself. I'm going to have a party, and what should I cook? You know, it can be, you know, very small things, but it also can make changes in people's lives. Maybe I just had a baby, and I feel very isolated. I'm home with the baby, and they come in and meet other moms at the playgroup, and I don't feel so alone. I can talk to somebody about, you know, do you feel alone too sometimes? Those kinds of things. Sometimes it's just a matter of very simple things, like I'm elderly and I don't have air conditioning at home and it's 95 degrees, but I can go to the library and get some relief. I'll read the paper in comfort. It can be the smallest thing. Everybody has different needs. Maybe I come to, you know, we show a movie once a month. I can't get out to the theaters anymore, you know, with COVID, but I can come to the library and see who won the Academy Award. And I see other people when I come here. So, or I see friendly faces that they know my name, or they don't know my name, but they're welcoming.
Right.
Yeah. Those are, you know.
That's it. Yeah, that's the library.
It is a library, yeah. There's so much more to it.
Yeah, than just finding a book.
There is a lot to it, yeah.
So what do you plan to do in retirement?
Well, you know, I would like a slower pace of life. You know, when you get into your 60s, you get tired more easily. I got things that I want to do at home. I'd like to travel a little bit, maybe take a few courses. I may get a part-time job in a library. You know, I've done this my whole life since I was 23.
Wow.
And I'm also looking forward to giving somebody younger a chance. this is a really special library in a really special town. And I'd like to see it pass on to somebody who will take as good care of it as I have. But also, it's very tiring sometimes to make a lot of decisions all day long. So I'm looking forward to a little bit of a slower pace of life. Yeah.
And actually, I was going to ask you what advice you could give to your successor, and you kind of just said that.
Yeah, I would say be fair, be diplomatic, and appreciate the people who use the library, work here, love the library, and what a really great community this is. I don't know if the person will be someone from Holliston, not from Holliston, familiar with it or not, but it really is a very special place. It really is, so yeah.
Well, thank you, Leslie, for helping it stay that way.
You're welcome. I've so enjoyed it. I am incredibly grateful to have had a job that pretty much every day I wanted to go to. That I enjoyed the time I was here, and it was work, but it always felt satisfying and fulfilling at the same time, and not everybody gets that.
We wish Leslie a happy and well-deserved retirement. For Heartbeat of Holliston, this is Chryso Lawless.